Right, let's talk about the girl in the red dress. Now, she has been haunting a hospice up near Norwich in Norfolk to the extent, we talked yesterday to an Anglican priest. They've called in, the NHS has called in an exorcist to try and rid this poor hospice of their evil spirit. The building where this hospice is has an interesting history. Let's talk to Paranormal Investigator from the Shadow Hunters UK organisation, Sam Howett. Hi, Sam.
Hi, good evening. How are we?
I'm okay. Well, how are we? I'm all right. Are you all right?
I'm fine, yes, thank you.
Good. Did you see the story yesterday, or have you acquainted?
I did see it. I did see it. So it was advertised in our local newspaper, and my cousin actually tagged me in it, as she knows that would be something I would be completely all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't actually heard reports prior to that, so it was a really interesting read.
Yeah. So what we've got here is this hospice where the patients and indeed the staff have been frightened out of their wits by this little girl in the red dress, a ghostly girl in the red dress. It turns out that this hospice is on the site of, I don't know if that's it, there's a picture of a girl there, I bet that's, now there it is. It's on the site of an old children's hospital. Now, it's called the Jenny Lind Hospital. Now, at some point, it's been there since the 19th century. And one would assume that this could be the ghost of a kid, a little girl, who died at the Jenny Lind Children's Hospital. The interesting sort of caveat is that the hospice is not actually in that building. The hospice is on the same site but is in a different building. Would a ghost, if it was in an empty building, say, "Oh, I've got no one to haunt here," would they go across to another building to try and haunt some people?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the energy. Now, as you can imagine, as that was a children's hospital, you know, it would have had a lot of emotions going in there, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of sadness. And with the Priscilla Bacon Lodge, it's very much the same kind of energy. You know, I've been very lucky in my life that I've never had to actually visit anybody within Priscilla Bacon, but friends of mine, you know, close people around me have. And the energy that's in there would obviously pull things in and pull other spirits in too.
Yeah. So yes, you are talking about. So the hospice is called the Priscilla Bacon Lodge, and that is located very near somewhere now called the Coleman Hospital. That used to be the Jenny Lind Children's Hospital, which was set up in 1854 to provide care for sick children, and as I say, not so long ago that building was abandoned, and the hospice is on the same site. So you're saying that a kid who had, shall we say, theoretically died in the children's hospital and is now a spirit, would go in search of humans. In other words, would transfer over to the hospice.
If you were a child, would you want to stay in a building all on your own, or would you go to places where there was love, you know, and energy and comfort and empathy? That's where you would go. You know, if that's the closest place, then absolutely that could be where it is.
And why would you think, Sam, that a little girl in a red dress, I mean, we've been trying to talk to someone who's in the hospice, but obviously it's very delicate. You know, these are people receiving end-of-life care, so we don't want to intrude too much.
Absolutely.
But it's quite clear that this little girl, the girl in the red dress, is causing great concern. So this girl seems to be doing nasty things. The staff and the patients are extremely disturbed by this, and that's why the NHS has brought in an exorcist to remove this spirit. That process is still underway. But why would you think that a little girl, the spirit, the ghost of a little girl, would be so malevolent?
Well, if you were trying to get people's attention and, you know, you were being ignored, what would you do? You might start to stamp, you might start to pull on people, you might start to move things, give people sad feelings. You know, just because the spirit may be showing herself as a little girl in a red dress, it could be any spirit. It's the red dress is more linked to when somebody has an emotional passing. So it could be that it is actually somebody else, but trying to get comfort from others. What's less threatening?
Although Sam, it's interesting what you said about that. If it's a little girl, she wants to get attention. Being a ghost, she can't. So she's having a sort of little girl tantrum.
Yeah, you could put it like that. Yeah.
Because what we're desperate to try to find out, I don't suppose we'll ever get to the bottom of it, but if there's anyone in Norfolk or Norwich who has any idea who was that little girl in the red dress, who was she? Does anyone know? If you live in the area, if you have any idea who was that little girl in the red dress, for God's sake, give us a call, because we want to know. 03444991000. Tell us just quickly, just before you go, Sam, I mean, what sort of, given that the staff and the patients are terrorised by what's going on, what sort of activity could a ghost or like this come up with to make people so scared? What would they be doing?
It could be noises, it could be ends of corridors, doors slamming, movement of objects, like I said, touching people potentially. All I would just like to say, just while I've got your attention, is if there are any people who like to go and explore, please don't go to the area, just out of respect.
That's a good, it's very well said, Sam. Very well said.
I don't want to advertise people go, and cause disturbances.
Now, as a paranormal investigator, again, last question really, have you come in contact? We spoke to a Church of England vicar last night who told us about his encounter with a demon. Have you come across, would this be a poltergeist or something like that? Have you ever? Tell me about. What's the worst experience you've had with a ghost, or the most scary?
Hard to say, really. I've been doing this a long time, so I've got so many different experiences. But I think it's probably from within residential properties. So where people are supposed to feel safe and secure, you've now got something, sort of growling or affecting pets. I've been part of a clearance of a house where a child had actually been pulled up off their bed, and we went round to investigate and managed to move the spirit on. How do you do that? How do you do that, Sam? How do you move a spirit on? You get into conversation.
You just sling your hook, get out of here.
Well, sometimes, yeah. It's about
You're annoying people. Now off you go.
It's about making the spirit aware that they're no longer needed in that property. That it's okay for them to pass over. Sometimes spirits just don't even know that they are spirits. They're trying to do their daily things, walking in and around pubs, causing issues, causing activity, when actually they're just doing their job. They don't realise they've gone.
Just doing their job. And apparently the pay's terrible. So